I am Major Technologist Prabhakaran Rajagopal, and for today I'm going to present my topic, which is Civil Military Cooperation in Malaysia, an empirical review. As per the introduction, civil as strategic joint function, which is civil military cooperation or CIMIC, has expanded far beyond traditional warfare, which is also now underpinning the disaster relief, humanitarian operation, and complex security missions, which is NATO defines CIMIC as a joint military function that integrates civil environment understanding and enables the structured civil military interactions across peace, crises, and conflicts, which is also the shift towards a doctrine-driven interoperability when it comes to the endorsement of NATO military policy 411-3, which is also been introduced during 2023, which marks a transition from ad hoc cooperation to systematic doctrine-based interoperability, reflecting the demand of an increasingly interconnected and risk-diverse global landscape. And why CIMIC matters to Malaysia? Because Malaysia's long-standing civil military stability, combined with recurring natural disasters such as flood and landslide, which underscore the need for robust and coordinated, in fact, the interoperable civil military response to safeguard the communities nationwide. And as per the purpose of the study, this assessment examined the Malaysia's historical evolution and institutional framework for CIMIC performance during recent disaster, the humanitarian and non-traditional security operations, which is also as a coordination, cultural and capacity frictions that hinder the effectiveness, which is more on actionable recommendation towards an all hazard, which is supporting the whole of governance and whole of society as per stated in the defense white paper. And as the importance towards the evolution of Malaysia's CIMIC architecture from the Malayan emergency integrated to win heart and the minds campaign to contemporary operations like Ops Murni and ISCOM, where Malaysia has progressively shifted from the episodic collaboration to formalize a doctrine and interoperable structure. And the current institutional foundation, which is NATMA, National Disaster Management Agency, which was established in 2015, now leads the National Disaster Governance ecosystem under the Disaster Management Act 2007 and NATMA Directive number 1, which was revised in 2022. And with that, we be having a remaining challenges despite major reforms. After action review still highlight legal ambiguities, interoperability gaps, and coordination frictions, which is more on reinforcing the need for the calibrated doctrine, joint exercise, and sustainment investment. And when it comes to empirical illustration of CIMIC in action, as we can see over here, the Kelantan massive flood which happened in the year flood 2014, which the displacement over 200,000 people. And secondly, the Klang Valley flood which happened in the year 2021, the activation of Op Murni or the Op Murni activations, which involving 919 personnel, 140 boats and air assets over the hundreds, which able to evacuate 71,000 residents. And thirdly, the northeast monsoon flood, which happened during 2022 and 2023, which is the integration improved by involving NATMA, JUPAM, and the Malaysian Armed Forces fused the drone and geospatial feed through the DGIM dashboard, which is the defense geospatial information management. And during the COVID-19 pandemic 2020 until 2022, which embarked the importance of CIMIC, expand the beyond disaster relief as the Ministry of Health lead the public health policy, while the Malaysian Armed Forces establish the field hospital, deliver the logistic, and enforce the movement control order. And towards that, the cumulative impact across this crisis, each event prompted institutional refinement. And as per the methodology, the empirical review approach, a structural synthesis using existing empirical evidence, the field surveys, case studies, experiments, and official after-action reports, which is also known as a primary data instead of new data collection. And this is where a 5 stages of rigorous process happen. Firstly, to define the scope, to focus the research question and temporal boundaries. And secondly, the transparent research, which is more into the systematic search on Scopus, Web of Science, Google Scholar. And thirdly, screen and appraise, which is more on a title, abstract screening, followed by full text quality assessment. And fourthly, extract and quote, which is more into systematic coding of study aims, design, sample, measures, and outcomes. And lastly, synthesis of the evidence, which more into to identify the convergence of the findings, the gaps, contextual, moderator, and implication for policy and future research. So the application to Malaysian CIMIC, the review integrates a peer review articles, which is more on the government report, policy, documents, and authoritative case narrative to map on how CIMIC is conceptualized and practiced across humanitarian, disaster relief, and security operations. And towards the effect of CIMIC in Malaysia in terms of the strength and gaps. In terms of the operational effective, the strength will be faster life-saving action, improved logistic. This can be seen during the Klang Valley flood 2021 and also during the Northeast monsoon flood which happened in 2022 until 2023 by the innovation which is using DGIM and other geospatial layers to reduce the duplicate of the sorties. And in terms of the capacity building, the strength is more into joint curricular exercises, cross-ministry training, and construction of 4.0 innovation, which is more on the modular shelter and rapid bridging. So as per the gap that we can see over here is the district level shortfalls, uneven equipment standard, and low fidelity simulation, which leads toward weak SOP stress testing. And when we are stressing on the public confidence and the legitimacy, the mixed team improved trust after 2021 flood, where the community engagement reinforced the state responsiveness. But the gap is NGO warns of the militarization of optic, which is during the long recoveries, it needs a transparency between the civilian in order for them to lead the structure NGO Malaysian Armed Forces license. And other challenges in civil military cooperation are very fragile information exchange, where the platform specifically, the radios, incompatible GIS format and ad hoc license desk, which indicates the need for standard terminology, unified incident command software, and routine cross-agency drill. And secondly, in terms of role ambiguity in fast escalating the crisis, NATMA is a legal lead, but operational boundaries blur during high-tempo incidents. And reinforce the need for clear, articulated task and single incident commander. And over the cultural and organizational dissonance, the military hierarchical decision-making contra with the civilian and NGO consensus process. And as per the 2024 NGO survey, 1/3 reported feeling intimidated by armed checkpoints. A joint training pre-session exercise, which is a loophole over here, which embedded the liaison officers need to harmonize the working culture. And in terms of the limitation, the data source constraint, which is more relied on open source studies, policy document, and published narrative, exclude a classified debrief and granular command log. and informal practitioner insight, which limit the nuanced understanding of specific event. And in terms of the methodological heterogeneity, evidence-based qualitative interviews, mixed method survey, and quantitative assessment, which prevent a pooled effect sizes, introduce a variability in constructing the definition and measurement. And when we are looking into the event level reporting gaps, the indicator like time to first rescue, duplicate sorties, and communication uptime, inconsistencies in the reports. And as per the source is bias towards the official report, positivity or survivorship bias, where media and NGO accounts which have more potential overemphasize on the gaps. And the other limitation, as we can see over here, is over the perspective of scope and coding limitation. And also the external validity in terms of finding are Malaysian-centric, which is applicability to other multi-ethnic federal ASEAN contexts in untested. And as per the takeaway, the result of a robust insight for Malaysian CIMIC, but generalizability of granularity and temporal currency are limited. And as per the future research, the triangulated mixed method design, which combine the field ethnography in disaster operation control center with district coordination meeting, conduct a longitudinal survey of responder and communities. With that, we can reduce the evacuation time and reduce the duplicate and avoid any duplicate of tasking rates. And when in perspective of the causal evolution of reform and technologies, where the threat measure policy like technologies changes, NATMA directive on number 1, which is the defense geospatial information management need to be upgrades as natural experiment. And when we expand the construct measure, the model legal mandate clarity across federal, state, and district tier, assess the institutional license capacity between the NGO and the Malaysian Armed Forces and also the police. And with that, we'll be able to examine the technology's life cycle, governance and community facing the effect, perception of the militarization. And as per the takeaway, the future research could move from descriptive convergence to causal interference, broaden the construct beyond the coordination, role clarity, cultural alignment and local capacity, and generate an evidence base for fully operable all-hazard CIMIC model. With that, we can conclude a structured national capabilities, shift from ad hoc, event-driven arrangement to a routine, national-level civil military cooperation framework, which able to support the disaster response, public health crisis, and border the security. With that, when we are focusing into the institutional anchors and tools like National Security Council framework and the NATMA statutory mandate, which able to foster the force mobilization, clear the decision cycle. And when we looking into the perspective of the capacity building and the public trust, the joint training pipeline, technology transfer and outreach program. And with that, I end my presentation. That's all. Thank you.